Podcasting from Hartford, you're listening to the Connecticut Scoreboard Podcast.
So on today's pregame show, we've got Zach Braziller from the New York Post join us. Zach, thanks for hopping on to talk a little UConn-St. John's for us.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
So UConn-St. John's, I know we were originally supposed to get this as UConn's first matchup back in the Big East. I know it's one fans are really looking forward to, kind of getting to play one of those classic Big East teams now for the first time. They've kind of matched up with some of the newer schools of late. St. John's, it seems like it's kind of been a tale of two halves so far this season. Get off to a 5-1 start and now 2-6 since. What has been the general gist of St. John's basketball this year?
Yeah, I mean, the start was decent, but they really, they were playing mostly low majors. They did beat Boston College. They lost to BYU. They've been okay. They haven't been great. Obviously the league record isn't great. They've lost 2 games they probably should have won at Georgetown yesterday, home for Marquette. I think if they're 4-4, people are kind of looking at it as like, all right, we're okay. But 2-6, I think fans are disappointed. I think most people didn't really think this was an NCAA tournament team this year, but I thought the hope was the NIT, and right now they would really have to me, turn it on to make the NIT. It's some of the new guys haven't played as well as people had hoped. Mm-hmm. Their stars, sophomore Julian Champagny, who's been terrific. I think he's exceeded expectations for anyone. He's leading the league in scoring. He's been terrific. He just hasn't really had a lot of help. They've struggled offensively, but the big problem has been defense. They just haven't been nearly as good defensively as people thought. They were much better defensively last year. They've been better the last 2 games. They really shut down Butler. And then yesterday, they completely, outplayed Marquette in the second half, just didn't finish the game. So their defense has been improved, but it's just not been what people kind of thought it would be.
This is the second year for Coach Anderson there at St. John's. What's his style of play like for UConn fans who might not have seen the St. John's game yet this year or might not be familiar with how Mike Anderson teams like to play?
Yeah, he likes to play. It's a lot of pressure defense. They'll pick up full court. They get up and down. It's a real kind of scrappy, back and forth game. He was a Nolan Anderson disciple. He believes in the 40 minutes of hell. We're gonna wear teams down. We're gonna play a lot of guys, and the no fans thing has really hurt them, especially at home, where the fans are on top of you. The pressure gets to teams, and without fans, it kind of takes a little of the element of that away. So yeah, I mean, I expect Monday to be a real ugly game. Honestly, I mean, obviously UConn plays very good defense. They play incredibly hard. I think you're going to have 2 teams that are really going to get after it. I don't, obviously with book night out, UConn isn't quite as good offensively. St. John's isn't great offensively. So I think we could probably see a game in the, like the 50s or the 60s and, a real kind of grinded out physical game.
I know you mentioned Champagny is the star there, not getting much help. If he is going to get some help on Monday, who's it most likely going to come from? Who are some of those secondary players that the fans should be on the lookout for?
Well, they have a junior guard, Greg Williams Jr. He's talented. He's had some really good games. He had 15 against Marquette yesterday. Last year when they had a big upset over Creighton, he had a big game. He is capable. He has the talent. He's just inconsistent in terms of scoring the ball. He's obviously been he's their second leading scorer. Then you have freshman point guard Posh Alexander, who really kind of keys their pressure in their transition game. He's been up and down, but he's, as most freshmen are, he's being asked to run a team. But he's definitely a capable guy. He doesn't really shoot it well, but he gets into the lane. He picks up full court. He's known to, he's leading the league in steals. He's a very good player. I think he's going to be a very good player, I should say. He's got a ways to go. The shot's got to improve, because if he ever could get a semi-consistent jump shot, then it's going to be much easier for him to get to the basket. So those are kind of 2 of their other, I would say, key guys that they need to play well to have a chance to win this game.
I know before we were talking about the style of play there and how they're going to want to play with a lot of pressure, up tempo. UConn's a team that, especially without book nights, going to want to grind it out. Do you see UConn's defense being able to put St. John's in a position where they've got to play in this grind it out type of game?
Yeah, I mean it's all about tempo, and when St. John's plays well, it's up and down. When they get stuck in a half court, they really struggle because they're not that big. They're not a great half court offensive team. So if this is a half court grinded out game, that's a huge advantage for UConn. I think UConn's size would really take effect, and St. John's is going to struggle to score against them. Now, if it's up and down, back and forth, I think St. John's has a shot to win the game just because of their athleticism and how good they can be in transition.
Absolutely. So today, I know we talked about kind of those two halves and how they played this year with the difference in the great start to where they are now. If you had to take a stance on this team, would you say they've underperformed to this point compared to your expectations heading into the season?
Yeah, slightly. Not, I picked the NIT. I know there were some optimistic St. John's fans who thought they could make the tournament, but I never really thought they were a tournament team. I thought I picked the NIT. Like, they lost their best player from last year's team, LJ Figueroa, who transferred to Oregon. That's been a big – losing him has really hurt them on both ends. He's a very good defender. He was the guy teams game plan for. To me, I don't think people made enough of that loss. I probably didn't make enough of that loss. But, yeah, I do think they've underperformed somewhat. The new guys, especially the junior college transfers they brought in, Vince Cole and Isaiah Moore, have been big disappointments. The grad transfer they brought in for George Washington, Arnaldo Toro, has been a disappointment. He has really not given them much. I thought they would be better. I thought they would at least through 8 games be 3-5, if not 4-4. I mean, they lost the loss at Georgetown to me is just really their worst performance of the season. They allowed 97 points, had no business losing that game. And then yesterday against Marquette, look, Marquette's is a talented team, but that was a game St. John should have won. They thoroughly outplayed them in the second half. They were up late second half. And in the last 3 minutes, they scored 2 points and had some really bad possessions. Plus, one thing they've struggled with is consistency. That first half, they were down 11 at the half. They really just didn't play well. They weren't attacking. They were settling for jump shots, and this is not a great jump shooting team. In the second half, they go to attacking and forcing the ball into the paint and moving the ball, and they outplayed them thoroughly. Now, if they do that for 30 minutes or 35 minutes instead of 20, they win the game. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing, they have not played consistently the right way in the way they need to play. And that, to me, has been the biggest disappointment. They were picked, I think, 9th in the league. They're probably going to finish around 8th or 9th, most likely. That's not, to me, where the disappointment is coming from. The disappointment is just how they just haven't played the way they need to play consistently. And when they've played that way, they've been pretty good. They have a few wins. They should have beat Marquette, but they just haven't done it nearly enough, and it's getting to the point of the season where you really got to get going here. And to me, if they can't find a way to get into the NIT, it'd be a disappointing season to have no postseason of any kind.
Absolutely. Zach, really appreciate the time. Really looking forward to this matchup and some of the other matchups against these New York, New Jersey schools. Get Seton Hall coming up soon. So appreciate the time and thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, Seton Hall should be fun. My pleasure, man.
Absolutely. Thanks again. Jared Cutler here, ready to do my Hot Sauce Huskies challenge. You know me, I'm about all things Connecticut, so I wasn't even going to attempt this till I found some Connecticut-made hot sauce. So I've got here from my friend David Wanke, goes by Chili. That's how you know it's some legit hot sauce here. So this is Wanke's Yankee Scotch Bonnet hot sauce. So pretty hot here. I've never really had hot sauce until today, so here goes nothing for the kids at the UConn Husky Ticket Project. Oh. All right, we got it. Oh, all right. Joining me now is David Wanke. He runs Wanke's Yankee Hot Pepper Products. David, thanks for joining me.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Or glad
to be a part of all this.
as I should be calling you, Chili, your nickname there, which goes right with the theme of what we're talking about today in the UConn Hot Sauce Challenge that everyone's been doing. So take us through a little bit for those who were like me trying hot sauce really for the first time here. I'm not a huge spice person. Take us through the different levels for people who are just getting up to speed and trying to down some hot sauce.
Well, start small. Don't start with shots of ghost sauce. A lot of people, when they say, "Oh, I've got a ton of hot sauce," they're talking Frank's, Cholula, all good quality products. They're mostly a cayenne based, which are relatively mild, about a jalapeno heat. My customers, my fan base tends to go a little bit hotter. I've tried making milder things. Really doesn't fly. They expect hot. I balance out heat and flavor with everything I do. I try to team up with different chilies. I mean, every country on the planet has its own chili peppers, to one degree or another. The mildest, are like the poblanos, the hatch chilies. They're fairly mild. Those are the little green ones in the cans that you get. All those are great. You start getting into craft sauces. That's where the people are really putting their effort into the flavor and the heat. You're getting up into the habaneros, the Scotch bonnets, which I saw you enjoyed. And then the true chili heads out there love the ghosts. Of course, the Carolina Reaper, which I think you have a jar of my jam that has some Carolina Reaper in it, which is the hottest chili on the planet. There's a Scoville scale that anybody can go on. You can look it up. You can Google it on the internet. And actually, the gentleman who devised that scale was born in Bridgeport.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of history around the area with hot sauce. And, I just got into it, being a chef and a pit master. And I just love playing with chilies, the different flavors, the different heat levels. I don't go for just heat. It's got to have the flavor too. But for the novice to start out with your milder ones, the green chili sauces, the jalapenos. Those are about 25,000 on a Scoville scale. Green bell pepper is 0, so that'll give you a little bit there. Then you start getting up into your Scotch bonnets, the habaneros, the Thais. They run about 350,000 on that scale. And then you start getting up into ghost peppers. They're about 1.9, and of course they're about 900,000. That North Carolina Reaper, the Carolina Reaper, which is the hottest, that goes at about 2.2 million.
Wow.
Kind of guess, judging by that scale, where you'd want to start, if you're doing hot sauce.
So the one I did for my hot sauce challenge was your Scotch bonnet here. So tell me what I just put in my body when I took this.
Well, that's a true, authentic Jamaican style Scotch bonnet hot sauce. I've actually compared it to a bottle from Jamaica. They are identical. You cannot tell the difference. I don't use any stabilizers or starches. That's why you probably had to shake it up a little bit. It had settled a little. It's a vinegar-based sauce, but it's made from pure strain Scotch bonnet chilies I get them from Florida, but the chili itself originated in Jamaica. That's the one that you get in your jerk chicken and jerk pork dishes. That's the one there. It's about a habanero heat level. It's fruity. It's got a nice citrusy, almost a mango flavor to it. It's a beautiful color. That's why I like the yellow ones. Kind of sets it apart. That's my favorite. I mean, I put that on my bacon, egg, and cheese. I put it on my burgers. I put it on my tacos. It goes on everything.
Yeah, no, it was good for someone who's not into never been a huge hot sauce person. For me to start, it definitely was a good heat, got me going, and I definitely think I'm going to start using it a little bit more for sure. Get used to it.
I'm surprised you started with that one. I figure you'd probably go with the jalapeno sauce.
You
went straight to the bonnet. That's a good man.
I figured I got to go big or go home. And for me, this is as big as I'm probably going to go.
That's fine. No, that's a good place. I mean, like I said, it's not just heat. You said it yourself. It had a good taste to it.
For those who are watching who want to get some of your products, that they want to help support a Connecticut business, especially as we're doing this challenge for a Connecticut team, like that was my thing. I wanted to help out a Connecticut business and really make that full tie-in. Where can they find your products?
On my website, it's www.Wanke's Yankee Hot Pepper Products. And if they're going to be doing the challenge, or if they're watching your podcasts, I will offer a 50% rebate on the shipping. Just put in the comments when you put the order in, put in Husky Hot Chop, and I will refund 50% of the shipping and get it out to you within a day.
Awesome. I love to hear it. I hope people are out there going to give it a try. I certainly enjoyed it. And you've got a whole host of stuff too. Barbecue sauce, probably a little bit more my style. So I can't wait to dive into that. But
I've got barbecue sauces, barbecue rubs, jams, the hot sauces. Everything I do has some variety of chili pepper in there.
I love it. David, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate the time. And for everyone out there doing the Husky Hot Sauce Challenge, now you've got a Connecticut hot sauce to give a try to. I certainly did it. I enjoyed it. So definitely recommend it for everyone out there. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.